If Sunday's NASCAR Cup race at Bristol Motor Speedway was a test, then there were only a few who passed with flying colors. For these drivers, the only negative lasting consequence of the race, which was unexpectedly controlled by tire wear and tire management strategy, was the smoking remains of tire burning on their cars. But this shouldn't have been the case, and the high tire degradation has resulted in backlash from the drivers and NASCAR for Goodyear. Goodyear director Greg Stucker admitted that tire wear is beneficial in NASCAR races, but the quantity saw Sunday at Bristol Motor Speedway was unexpected and excessive. "I would agree tire wear is always the goal," Stucker, Goodyear director of racing, said during a visit to the media center during the final stage of the Food City 500. "That's what people wanted to see. It creates comers and goers and who manages tires the best. But we thought we were in a really good spot last year with the tire as we raced it in the fall, and something is different now. So this is too drastic." Teams in the Cup Series saw excessive tire wear and cording from the start on Sunday. It forced drivers to slow down the race pace in order to preserve rubber and complete a whole run on gasoline without incident. However, due to a series of collisions and cautions, NASCAR allowed Goodyear to distribute an extra set of tires to the teams early in the second stage. The teams starting Sunday's race had 10 pairs of tires to choose from. In addition to 9 sets for the race, teams may carry 1 set from qualifying. "We tested here last year with the intent to come up with a tire package that generated more tire wear. That was the request from NASCAR and the teams," Stucker went on to say. "We feel like we had a very successful test. We feel like we had a very successful race in the fall of last year because we did exactly that. We ran a full fuel stop, definitely saw wear, but we thought it was spot on. So now we're trying to understand what's different. Why is the racetrack behaving differently this weekend than what it did a year ago?" The track did not take rubber, resulting in excessive cording. "If you look up in the corners, the tire rubber is being worn off, and it's just not adhering to the racetrack," Stucker said. "That's why you see all the marbles up in the corners. And again, last August, it took rubber immediately. As is typical with concrete, you run around under caution, it'll pick it back up. We see that at Martinsville, we see that at Dover, we see that here. But immediately when we go back green, it lays back down, and that's just not happening." Goodyear delivered the same left-side tire code used at Bristol since the fall of 2022. The right side made its premiere in Bristol in the fall. "It's the same package. It's the same tire combination," Stucker said. "Obviously the difference is resin was placed on the lower groove instead of the PJ one. Yet I still think the racetrack should be taking rubber as it did last year. It took rubber immediately during that race. It's still a bit of an unknown as far as why it's not behaving the same, that being the racetrack. But that's kind of what we know now. Obviously everybody is kind of in the same boat, but some guys are able to manage through it a little bit better than others. It's still a tough situation, and we're going to have to try and understand exactly what's happening, what's different, and adjust from there." NASCAR had the epoxy poured into the bottom groove at Bristol since the circuit had become top lane dominating in previous years. It was put on the track at the beginning of the weekend, and again Sunday morning after the Saturday night Craftsman Truck Series event. "Everybody got together and expressed concern, but we decided to wait and see what happened with the truck race," Stucker told reporters. "The truck race went exactly like we expected it to. It put rubber down immediately. Tire wear was in line with what we have historically seen, so it's a little bit unclear as to why we're not seeing that same thing today." It became evident early on that the Cup Series race would be a fight of delicate tire management and strategy. Although Goodyear employed the same tire combination as in the previous race, the tire fall-off left no rubber on the track, resulting in significant tire wear. Midway through the race, NASCAR approved Goodyear to offer teams with one more set of tires, but with many teams only able to travel 50 laps before experiencing issues, teams were forced to significantly change the race pace. Hamlin's number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing crew adapted best, with him leading 13 times for a race-high 163 of 500 laps. "That's what I grew up here doing in the short tracks in the Mid-Atlantic, South Boston, Martinsville. Once it became a tire management race, I really liked our chances," Hamlin said. "Obviously the veteran in Martin, he knew how to do it as well. We just had a great car, great team. The pit crew just did a phenomenal job all day. Can't say enough about them. Man, it feels so good to win in Bristol." Martin Truex Jr., who finished second, had to make a difficult decision as he challenged Denny Hamlin for the win late in Sunday's NASCAR Cup race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Push harder or risk damaging his tires. I guess this tire management thing fits into my wheelhouse here at Bristol. Man, the difference was just coming out of the pits so far behind Denny, Truex said. I had to use mine up more on the last run. I was right on his bumper when he pitted, and when I came out, he was a straightaway ahead of us and just used my stuff up too much to try to get there. The last 5 laps, my right rear was corded. It was close. Sunday's race was an entirely different tire battle than last autumn, allowing Truex to finish in the top 5 for only the 3rd time in 34 career outings. For a veteran like Truex, this proved to be an unexpected benefit. Early in the race, went way too hard and realized your tires were gone. And then, it's like, all right, we can't run as hard as we can. Just had to figure out how hard you could push it and what kind of lap times you could run throughout the run, Truex said. Then we kind of just managed it from there. It was tricky, honestly. I barely pushed harder there on that last run for 10 laps, and at the end, I was right rear corded. There's a fine line, and fortunately for us, we had a lot of speed in our Toyotas today, and we were able to save tires and stay up front. That was the key. I gave it a hell of an effort, Truex added. Our Toyotas are working really well right now. Had a lot of fun today. But Truex wasn't the only one pushing, as Keselowski, like many others, pushed his tires to the limit on the last 50-lap run, following a series of green flag pit stops. He remained one of the 5 cars on the lead lap and finished 3rd, a season high. We just kind of ran top 5 pretty much the whole race and kept them honest. I got ran into on one of those pit caution cycles. That did a little damage to the front end. Otherwise, I think I could have had a shot to win it today. But still solid to come home 3rd, Keselowski said. It was an interesting day. There was a lot of discipline required, and it was a fun race, to be honest, because you just had to be so smart behind the wheel. It would bite you in a heartbeat, and you had to have a good setup. I think we had a good setup and tried to run the smartest race I could. Sunday's race was a far cry from last fall's tire-related event. Although Goodyear used the same tire combination for this race, the tire fall off left no rubber on the track, resulting in exceptionally high tire wear. That combination favored the sport's most experienced drivers, who finished 1, 2, 3, with Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. ahead of Keselowski. What are your thoughts on the race? And the backlash on the Goodyear tires? Was it fun to watch? Or should the tires have been good enough for 50-plus laps? Let us know in the comments down below. And subscribe for more NASCAR content.